You have $50, not $50,000, not an inheritance, not a bonus that landed at the perfect time. $50, the amount that vanishes over a weekend without you noticing. Too small to feel important, too tight to easily spare. Both at once. And this is where it starts. Not with a strategy, not with the perfect plan. Just $50, and a decision that feels almost embarrassing next to the size of what you're trying to build. You set up the automatic transfer. You pick a simple index fund. You click confirm. Nothing happens. The balance reads $50. But hold that moment, because 40 years later, that same 50 a month habit reads around $316,000. And only 24,000 of it was ever yours. So let's walk the whole way there. $50 isn't investment, the habit is. The first few months are not a story, they're a habit with nothing to show for it. You feed the account $50 a month, like a plant you're not sure is even alive. Some months the number ticks up, some months it slips. 6 months in, the balance reads about $305. You knew it would. 305 changes nothing. It's not a number you mention to anyone. And this is exactly where most people quietly disappear. Not with a decision to quit. Just a tight month where the transfer doesn't happen. Then another. Then the login stops. And a year later, the habit is simply gone. That version of you isn't lazy. It's human. You don't disappear. You keep feeding a machine that doesn't thank you. Before it even pays you back, a habit only produces itself. 12 months in. You've put in $600. The amount reads about $630. $30. You could earn that in an hour of overtime. It's not impressive, and you're smart enough to know it, and steady enough to stay anyway. But year one already paid you something the balance doesn't show. 12 times, you had $50 that could have been dinner, and 12 times it became a contribution instead. And 12 times, your life did not fall apart without it. The $50 you thought you needed was never actually holding up your month. It just felt like it was. Most people never test that feeling. You tested it 12 times, and it was wrong every single time. That discovery is worth more than the $30. The $50 was never load-bearing. It just felt like it. Then the market does what the market eventually does. It drops, say 14%, over a few brutal weeks. You watch part of your balance evaporate. You feel it somewhere between your stomach and your chest. And here's the fork most people fail for. They panic, and they sell at the bottom. You don't. The transfer goes out on schedule. Because the schedule doesn't negotiate with the news. And because prices are lower, that same $50 buys more shares than it did 3 months ago. You don't celebrate it, you just continue. When the market climbs back months later, the shares you bought cheap are worth more than you paid, and the discipline of the scary months has quietly compounded. The market will do this to you again and again. The schedule doesn't negotiate with the market. Somewhere around year 5, the account reads about $3,900 on 3,000 of your contributions. Small, but the gap between what you put in and what you have is starting to widen. And it widens in your favor, faster and faster. Then something strange happens. By around year 8, the returns in an average year are larger than anything you deposited. Read that again. The market is now adding more to your account than you are. It's as if a second person quietly started paying in every month. Right beside you. That someone is time. Time is the one investor who never misses a month, never panics, and never sells at the bottom. You just had to stay in the seat long enough to put it to work. Time is the investor who never misses a month. Now the curve stops crawling and starts to bend. 10 years in, 6,000 contributed. About 10,000 in the account, assuming the market holds near its long-run average of roughly 10% a year, which is history, not a promise. 20 years in, 12,000 contributed. About 38,000. Look at the jumps. You're only adding 50 a month, but the account is now adding thousands a year on its own. The growth isn't a straight line anymore. It's a curve tilting upward, and the steep part is only just beginning. This is the thing books and podcasts try to explain, and it never lands until you watch it happen in your own account, with your own money. You did nothing extraordinary. You didn't time anything. You didn't pick a winner. You just refused to stop. The machine has quietly become the bigger contributor. 30 years in, the account reads about $113,000 on 18,000 of your money. But by now, the money isn't really the point. Somewhere along the way, you changed. You stopped checking the account out of fear and started watching it out of curiosity. A red day on a Tuesday stopped feeling like information about your future. You didn't deprive yourself to get here. You took the trips, you brought the things. You just did it around a $50 habit that stopped feeling like a sacrifice and started feeling like who you are. That's what 113,000 really is. It's not retirement. It's not freedom. It's proof. Proof that you can build something out of almost nothing, with no windfall and no big income, just by feeding the machine and never stopping. It was never the number. It was the proof. 40 years in, you've contributed $24,000, $50 at a time. The balance, around $316,000, which means roughly $292,000 was never earned at a job, never saved, and never won. It was built by time and by your refusal to quit. Here's the trap most people fall into instead. They wait for the big version, the raise, the bonus, the perfect moment to start with a serious amount. That moment rarely comes, and when it does, the habit of waiting comes with it. Small and consistent is not the backup plan for people who can't do more. It's the actual mechanism. Time doesn't wait for the right amount. It runs on whatever you give it. You gave it $50 every month for 40 years. You didn't learn this in school, but now you know. Don't wait to invest. Invest, then wait.